Welcome into episode 11, Jocks and Jill's podcast. Tessa and Julia with you, both just bunch
barely.
Of hurting units. Julia, happy birthday to you. Everybody sing
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. I actually invited my children down to sing you happy birthday, and they were very excited it was your birthday, but Theo was like, no, I'm scared. I was like, of what? And then he pointed to the webcam.
On camera?
Yeah, and I was like,
I
get it, man.
Nice.
That's okay. You don't have to do it. Anyways, how was the birthday? What's going on? You're up in T-Bay? Why is there no taxidermy behind you? I don't get it.
So my dad was actually really concerned. He denies the taxidermy. He said he didn't want to offend any. He used the word Toronto people, as Northern Ontario parents do. He's like, I don't want any of the Toronto people to get up in arms. So no taxidermy behind me. A good array of jerseys, though. Hockey Canada.
Yeah.
Wendell, not Emily Clark. The Bertuzzo jersey's hilarious because Thunder Bay guy, my babysitter occasionally as a kid.
What?
And yeah, we're at a shag on Friday night. My cousin's getting married. And a shag, for those of you not from this neck of the woods, is kind of like a stag and doe or a social where you raise money for a wedding. And of course, Liam, who's never been to a shag before in his life, wins the first prize of the night. The signed jersey. This tag. It's like, who brought this guy?
What jersey did he win? Was it the Bortuzzo one?
Yeah, it was the signn Bortuzzo one. I'm like, we could have just probably asked him for one of those. Like, you didn't have to waste your tickets on that. Yeah, but it's been an awesome visit. The snow here is still insane, so we got some good skiing in, but it's like the ideal end of season skiing where it's people in like t-shirts on the hill.
So
awesome.
wicked.
So nothing but love for T-Bay. And I feel comfortable talking to you right now because I'm in the garage, and garage is a word that I catch a lot of heat for. I know it's garage, a little bit more sophisticated, but God, you might as well call it a car park then. Like, chill out, guys. It's a garage.
It's the garage.
That's my TED talk.
Is that how your dad explains it? The garage?
He wouldn't even explain it. It's just how he says it, you know?
He just said
That's just the vibe. Yeah.
I love it.
So Easter, good this morning with the little ones?
Yeah, I mean, like, outside of the fact that we had all of 3 hours of sleep.
Right.
It was great.
That's okay.
Last night my parents are in town. We've had them over for a few days now. And we were all just hanging out watching, some hockey. And my dad's buddies with our tenant. Our tenant works for Ed. And so him and my dad
plays the accordion for him, right?
Yeah, violin.
Serenades him
my dad's
musically.
on the
right.
Yeah, my dad's on the violin these days. That's what he's trying to pick up. But they love to like drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes and talk music. So my dad's like, oh, I think I'm gonna go have a drink with CT. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, oh, he's at the bar. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'll drop you. It's no big deal. And so we're getting ready to go, and Ed's messaging him, and we find out that one of Ed's buddies is actually playing at the bar. So we're like, okay, well, we'll go for one. Next thing you know, it's 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, we need to go home and like go right to bed. Our children are going to be awake and ready to rip. So,
and they were.
Anyways, Annie Theo was stoked. Obviously, it's chocolate. He's like, Mom, the Easter Bunny came. Annie, the first little egg she picked up. So we had to put our little chocolate eggs in like those plastic eggs because we have a dog. And the first one she found, she like couldn't focus on the rest of what needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Because she just had to get that first egg open. So
that's a bad tactic, Annie. I broke my toe Easter morning one time. I was battling my sister so hard. Like, Easter morning was kind of warfare. Yeah,
well, see, we eliminated that. We put colored eggs, so Theo gets his color, Annie gets her color.
Still warfare, obviously. They tried. I think that they went a little harder at the labeling the next year after there was a broken appendage.
Yeah, but like what you don't know as a kid is like your parents are just eating half of your chocolates anyway, so it doesn't matter.
For sure they were. So now we know, and I'll get to do it one day to them. You do it to your kids. I actually ate some of your kids' Halloween candy this year when I was at your house, so I partook.
Thank you.
Speaking of treats, our CCM contest. So exciting. We finally
Love
got
it.
to announce it this week. We're
Yeah.
giving away a pair of skates. We're giving away round 1 PWHL playoff tickets. The skates, of course, will be in your size. Playoff tickets will be a game of your choice. So make sure you get your entries in. The link, we'll drop our link in the bio of this YouTube video as well to the contest so you guys can enter. It's on our Instagram page in the bio there. We tweeted it. Like, we've been posting it every day. So if you guys follow us, you should be able to find it. Make sure you get lots of entries in for that contest. Something else funny we have to talk about is that video that we posted of when you were at the chalet and we did the episode there. All your you knows. Okay, let me just set the record straight. Look
You're
at you,
full of
Tessa.
it.
You know me. I'm not full of it, dude.
You're full of it.
Check the tapes. I
I
was
will.
at 7 minutes and 45 seconds into the recording of the headlines segment. Dude,
I'm not saying I didn't
go back and check.
I'm not saying I didn't say
You're
all
like,
those
no,
you knows.
she's capping. She's capping. Oh, you did. And let me just say this. I didn't have very much time. If I went through the whole episode, it could have been such a highlight reel.
For sure. And I told you, get more. But my thing is like, at the start, I was well lit, right? And then you're like, it took me all 5 minutes to find all those.
Yeah, but you were
at
recording
the end, I was
right at sunset. I refuse to. You know what? We're gonna go back and check the tapes. You guys check the record. Let me know. I'm on the right side of history right now in this battle. Although somebody noticed that I say "that's awesome" a lot too. So now all of our crutch words have been exposed.
At the end of answers, sorry,
Yeah.
when our guests answer it, you're always like, "That's awesome." It's like
It's because I don't like
way of putting something to bed.
I don't like awkward pauses. So like in that moment where it's like, okay, is Tessa gonna it's from radio, honestly. I have this like allergic reaction when there's an awkward pause. Just I gotta get over it though. Because when there's that little transaction of like, okay, is Tessa gonna ask? Am I gonna ask? A little transition. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, Tessa, you, me. Anyways, I gotta get over it. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay. That's awesome. You know?
That's freaking awesome. It's been an awesome week, and we've got Worlds coming up. So now that our shenanigans we can put to bed with that's awesome. Let's get to our headlines this week in women's hockey. All right, we got your headlines in women's hockey this week. Worlds obviously top of mind, but we got to put some bows on things from the first, I don't know, 3/4, the first large chunk, the first all but 5 games of the PWHL season for the teams in the league. We were getting called out a bit because we didn't give Minnesota enough love last week. Honestly,
on purpose.
Fair enough, but we just were trying to stretch out content. So you guys know we love Minnesota. We love that team. And they are looking hot right now, Tessa.
Totally. I said it. I don't know why people are like, you're not giving Minnesota love. I say it all the time. I wish I would have picked them to win it all. I wish I would have trusted my gut when we did that preview show. Nonetheless, beat Montreal 3-2 in a shootout. I feel like they're 2-0 in shootouts now, so you don't want to take them to shootouts. Grace Zumwinkle loves shootouts, apparently. That's just what she was born to do. 3 shootout goals, 4 game-winning goals on the season so far. Grace freaking Zumwinkle. What a name. Love Zumwinkle as a last name.
Yeah. When I was interviewing all the girls, I was kind of asking them about who in the PWHL do you think is kind of like underrated, maybe a name that not you didn't know, but wasn't totally on your radar that's really popping. So many of the girls said Grace Zumwinkle as that maybe kind of underrated player in the PWHL.
Respect.
So they can clinch a playoff spot right after Worlds, and they literally didn't lose a game in March.
No, they love March as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So Minnesota, definitely a team to watch on the other side of this Worlds break.
And I feel like what's great about them too is like they're not whining about, calls or whatever. They're just, or injuries, like when they had Heisey out, and I feel like they just put their hard hats on and went to work. And like you talk about Grace Zumwinkle, everybody's saying that she's like one of the most, I don't want to say underrated. She's great. Everyone knows she's good, but less talked about. I don't think she needs it. She's like, I don't care. I'm just going to be here scoring goals and winning games.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Montreal right now? 0-3 in shootouts.
Yeah.
Lost. Had a little bit of a losing blip there towards the end of the World's break. Any thoughts on Montreal?
Yeah, I I don't like their direction. This break could go one of two ways. Maybe they get things sorted. Obviously, with Pooh going down didn't help, but I don't know if they know their identity and if their systems are playing true to who their identity truly is as a team. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like there's
Explain a little more.
yeah. So
It's because like when you
But-
have Pooh on a team, it just feels like that's almost your identity.
yeah, but it can't be. Well, okay, what's everyone else
Right.
doing?
Exactly.
You know what I
that's what I
mean?
mean. So it's
And
a
you
little
wanna
bit
talk
hard when
about
she's
playing
out.
Yeah, you want to talk about playing true to an identity. Like Ottawa established that from the beginning. They bought into what they were doing. They weren't getting the wins they wanted, maybe, but at the end of every game, you heard them talk about it. They're like, we're playing the right kind of hockey. This is what we want. The tides will turn, and they are. For Montreal, it felt like, they were just riding the fact that, they had great players that were able to, score goals and put goals in and get wins when they needed to. I mean, they're a hard playing team, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's almost like the identity and the execution don't match some nights, and that's when they get bit in the butt, if you will. So I'm going to make a bold prediction and just say I bet you if everyone stays healthy after Women's Worlds, Ottawa is going to leapfrog Montreal in the standings.
Ooh, okay, we'll clip that off and make sure we remember it for
Make sure
after
you
this
shove it
World's
down my
break.
throat if I'm wrong.
No, it's not that. If you're wrong, like the clip obviously gets buried and nobody sees it again. But if you're right, then we roll it back and
Right, that's fair.
Duh.
Yeah.
The final game before the break, we didn't get to see New York win. They finally got to snap their streak. Like you got to be happy to see that sort of thing for that NY team.
Yeah, and just because, you don't really want to go into break streaking on 8 losses. That sucks. They ended it at 7. Jade Downey-Landry had herself a game in that game. So did their power play. Their entire power play was just on fire. And I love to see that because I felt like at the beginning of the year, I don't know what it is about all these teams. Maybe they just didn't have enough time to get in the swing of things or in a groove with their power play. But it felt like everyone was going over every game. And it was like, geez. And there was like, I felt like sometimes I'm like, are there more jailbreak goals than power play goals going on right now? Like that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah, maybe
you know
they
what I
just
mean?
get more hype, but it does feel that way sometimes.
And it's probably the hype. Truly, it most likely is. However, Jade Downey-Landry, 2 goals and assists, all in the power play. New York had 34 shots on goal. It's the second time only the second time all season they've outshot a team. So if there's a team wondering what they got to do to get back into the win column, apparently it's quantity, not quality, ladies.
Yeah.
Get the puck on net. Get your power play going. I mean, Boston didn't do themselves any favors in that game. I think they had 6 penalties?
Yeah.
Right?
Most they've had all season, I think.
That's most of this. Yeah, like get out of the. I don't know. Maybe it was just frustration. Maybe there's something going on there. I don't know. But good for New York. I felt like those ladies. I think I saw some of them are in Miami right now, just living the life. Oh, get me there.
Love it.
But yeah, I felt like good for New York, and I hope they look back. I mean, Howie's obviously gonna take note, but like second time all season you've outshot a team, and both of them ended up in wins. So you might as well jump on that bandwagon.
Shoot the puck. As every hockey dad and coach and fan in the stands have said since the dawn of time. Shoot.
Yeah.
Always love to hear that in a rink. Not.
Yeah.
So the pressing topic that everybody wants to talk about right now, obviously, Tess, Women's Worlds. We're recording this on Easter Sunday. So when you guys hear this tomorrow, we'll just be a couple days away from puck drop of the Utica tournament. USA looking to defend its gold. That defending their ice series is pretty sick. I've been checking it out, watched it on the plane. It's very exciting stuff. So make sure you guys are tuning into that before Worlds comes up. I feel like it's much watch content before this tournament. But anyways, I want to ask you, we'll talk about the Canada roster in a second. I want to ask you about USA and this whole camp selection process that they did. They announced their roster literally right now. Like you and I just saw it at the same time while we were recording this podcast. We weren't sure if it was going to come out on time. So I'm glad that we get to see it before we get this podcast out. But can you just talk to me about the mental warfare that it would be, Tess, to be at this camp in Lake Placid and not know if you're going to Worlds? It just, I don't know, maybe I'm of the softer generation, but maybe it's, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a good way to set yourself up just feels like everybody's got to be on edge there a little bit until the team gets announced, and then, hey, yo, we got 2 days to turn it around and go to this tournament.
I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it because it's not just going off of what scouts see or say, right?
Right.
It's actually giving these players a chance to show up to earn your spot. Come,
Who's rolling right now?
I'm a vet on the team. You want my spot? Come get it. Do you know what I mean? It's not just someone saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
we're going to go with so and so this year." It's like, well, how do you know? You know what I mean? So I don't mind it.
That's
I
a good
also
point.
like it.
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, I also like it because it really gets your, not that these ladies need any help in the competitive juices department, but it really gets your competitive juices going early. And
Right.
like you're already in fight mode. You're already cruising. You're already going. And it's not to say that like the way Team Canada went about it is just, calling a team and then having a couple games. But I find when you're already battling for a spot and then you get it in the team's name, there's like a little bit of success and camaraderie where you guys get to celebrate that part together. And then it's like, okay, I've gone through that battle. I fought for something. Now what's up next on the docket? Okay, refocus. We got a new thing going now. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what works out great. This roster's incredibly young for me.
Yeah.
Incredibly fast, stupidly skilled. Like this is, I mean, the Hannah Bilka, Alex Carpenter, Kendall Coyne Schofield,
Crazy
Britta Curl,
forward groom.
Joy Dunn, Lacey Eden, Layla Edwards, Taylor Heisey, Tessa Janicki, Hillary Knight, Abby Murphy, Kelly Panic, Haley Skimura, Kristen Sims, and Grace Zumwinkle.
So skilled, it's scary.
Everybody knows every single one of those names, and they're like, oh, sick, every time you're reading a name. It's like scary. Now, scary, sure. Can they pull it together? They're playing against a wily veteran team on Team Canada, right? Yeah. So it's like, what's going to take you further?
I love his work. By the numbers, this Team Canada, the Team Canada is sending to the 2024 Women's World Championship is the oldest team that they have ever brought. Average age is 28 years, 2 months, and 20 days. That's when Pooh plays. Previously, the oldest roster was last year, and then he added a little caveat in 90 and 92. Apparently, they don't have exact numbers for how old everybody was, but yeah, oldest team. So it's interesting to see the exact opposite approaches that these programs are taking here.
And I mean, I feel like that's just coaching style too, right? Like John Robleski likes the here and now. Like we've got an equation and it's how much offense are you creating? And if you're not creating the right, if you're not reaching the basement of what we want, we're not even looking at you, right? Whereas Troy's like, I know who I like, I know what I want, and this is what I'm comfortable with, and that's what I'm going with. And I don't know if that speaks volume to like I can outcoach you with these players, or I know these players will outplay you, or if it's Robo going like it's piss and vinegar. That's what we're getting, and that's what we're going with, and we're coming at you fast and furious. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see because, like I said, this is a very, very young team that's going to have to come together on a very big stage at home. And like, if you think about it, this Canadian team, a lot of them lost on home soil last year in dramatic fashion.
Oh yeah. We talked lots about that in those interviews I did. Like you guys will see them run through the intermissions. The players were not shy to say like how pissed off they are that they had to watch the USA haul their flag out to center ice in Brampton with all those Canadian fans in the stands. Erin Ambrose had this awesome story. Dude, she hangs her silver medal on her door. Every day she leaves the house, she sees that thing. So the Canadian team is really motivated, and they have this real swagger about them right now that I didn't. And I'm saying like just in talking to them all, coming into the room one by one, that I didn't feel that they kind of had in Brampton last year. So they're feeling pretty swaggy walking in, even though like
a little chip on your shoulder.
Pooh didn't play, definitely a chip on their shoulder. Chip kind of in the lineup right now too. Pooh's not playing. She didn't play in that 8-2 win over Finland yesterday in Kingston. Sir Dogny, I think, a little bit banged up too. So hopefully everybody's set and healthy to play at some point here.
And that's what you want. And like I said before, I don't think Hillary has been super healthy all season long. Just, I don't know. Just knowing Hill and the way she's been playing, and something doesn't quite fit. So I don't want to say she's injured, but I think she's banged up a little bit too. So hopefully everyone, has had time to get those ice bags on and get some healing done so that they're top notch come puck drop on April 3rd.
Yeah, that was another big topic of conversations, especially among the players who've been with the national team for a long time, like girls not just coming out of college. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a long season to get yourself used to again.
Yeah.
Going, usually Worlds is the end of their season, and now they have to go back 5 more regular season games and then
I
a
know.
playoff run as well. When they're used to like getting on a plane and going on vacay for a couple weeks after
I
this
know.
after
It's
this
crazy.
tournament. So it's quite a grind to stay healthy for. Last thing on this, before we get to our player interview presented by Novus, and it is a
Mm-hmm.
good one this week, guys. A lot of buzz online about Daryl Watts, and of course, there's going to be a lot of buzz online about Daryl Watts. We know she's a great player, and then she gets a hat trick right before Canada's roster gets announced. So, anything on Daryl and her game and her not being
Coming to
included
this hat trick, yeah,
on
I feel like,
yeah.
she's a competitor, and this kid loves to play hockey, and she's good at it, obviously. And I think that it was probably frustrating, extremely frustrating for her, when they've been losing. And I feel like when you're a player like that, that like knows like I score goals, like this is what I do, I produce, and to not really have that start happening until recently, and then obviously she pops off on the hat trick to get a big win. It's awesome. I think
Yeah.
once you start getting that, the confidence rolling, you feel better. You're actually doing your job to help your team win, and I like it, and I want to see more of it. And I think she's got a great coach, behind her to keep her color in between the lines and doing all the right things because, um, you know, we heard everyone talk about Carla before, and we've heard Carla talk that like she just wants to make everyone the best version of themselves. And I think we're slowly starting to see that with Daryl Watts. So it's pretty cool to see. I also want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to Gabrielle Santerre. We got to talk about this.
Right.
Bishop's Gators. Edward would be very upset if I didn't mention his alma mater. The Bishop's Gators. They've got a women's hockey team, and we actually went and visited there. Saw the rink. Great spot. Looks beautiful. They definitely take care of their
Nice.
athletes there. Yeah, man. But she is the first player to win Rookie of the Year and Most Outstanding Player of the Year in youth sports.
Wow.
She also is the first to do it in RSEQ. So here's this kid come up 45 points in 25 games, Julia.
Unreal.
She's a rook.
That's so sick. Good for her.
Who's going to be drafting her?
Yeah, for real. You
Seriously.
mentioned that kind of when you were talking about like got to be some eyes on the U Sports players in Canada too. Like there's some
100%.
nasty girls in that league.
Absolutely. Look, when I played at Ohio State, we used to always have a game against Wilfrid Laurier. And I remember Liz Knox was in net. She was a goalie. And I remember them coming in, and I'm like, and our coach is like, we're going to play everybody and roll all the lines, and we'll let one goalie have one period and the other have another. I'm like, they're coming here to win. They want to beat us. Like, and it's Noxie in net, and she's really good. So we should probably take this really seriously. Like, you know what I mean? But it was like just a preseason game to get everyone's legs under them anyways, and sometimes we would beat them barely 2-1, and sometimes they'd beat us 2-1, and it's like
one of my favorite things, like people sleep on youth sports, men's and women's. Like the whole debate going on about the best youth sports team beating the best NCAA team, like I think that
make it happen
any day of the week. That's a strong league. I think it should 100%.
Buckeyes play Concordia. Let's go. I'd pay to see it.
Oh my gosh, yes, I would love it.
Right?
I want to see it on both sides, honestly. And the debate, we need to see it.
Cami Granado, she played at Concordia. Melody Daou, Kim St. Pierre, Charlene Labonte, and Sophie Bete. They played at McGill. There's fantastic hockey players that play in youth sport. Like legit, it's a legit. I don't like when people compare and rank. I'm like, these are all fantastic hockey players, no matter which way you go about it. Regardless, shout out to Gabrielle Santerre. Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. It's an incredible accomplishment. And that wraps up our headlines of the week on this Easter Sunday, Tess. And now this one is one of our most highly requested guests of all time. Yeah. And guys, she did not disappoint. She provided us with some hilarious stories. We love to watch her play. We love to see her TikToks. She is just like one of the most entertaining players in the league. Our player interview presented as always by Novus this week. Guys, it's Emily Clark. All right, our next guest on the Jocks and Jills podcast is a 2-time Olympic medalist and 7-time World Championship medalist. She's a Wisconsin alum that helped the Badgers make it to the Frozen Four in all 4 seasons she was there, and ended it off with a national championship in her senior year. Hello to my parents' cat. She's the pride of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and maybe our most highly requested guest.
100%.
Yardy the cat on the Jocks and Jills podcast ever. Guys, please welcome Emily Clark. I'm not joking, Emily. You are by far the most requested guest that we've had on this podcast.
100%.
Like DMs, tweets, messages,
emails,
tattoos. Please get Emily Clark on.
Can we talk about that off the top? Because I don't know anybody that has
pressure.
their face tattooed on anyone. You're the first person I know. What's the story, Allegory?
Yeah, that was not on my bingo card for this year, but yeah, we have very passionate fans in Ottawa, and yeah, one of our fans is getting an Ottawa leg sleeve, but I was the first piece on it, and yeah, it just goes to show we have really passionate fans in Ottawa, and we mean a lot to the city.
Cool. So who is said Ottawa fan, and like you got to meet them, I assume, or no?
Yeah, I've met her a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Triss, and she's at all of our games. She's a huge fan and tweets a lot. She actually has some pretty funny tweets, not gonna lie. She would be good on an admin somewhere, but yeah, loving playing in Ottawa.
And like as far as the
Nice.
tattoo artist goes, like if you're grading them out of 10, how good they do? Like, are you looking at it and you're like, oh, that's me? Or are you like, who's that?
No, honestly, I think it's pretty well done. Like my
Okay.
hairline is like spot on. Yeah.
The hair,
the
it's the
bun.
hairline.
The hairline and bun, which is a signature. So
The
Natural.
bun is
After
actually
that.
vital. As long as they
Yeah.
nail that, it's perfect.
after that, it could have been just hand drawn the rest of it, but Yeah.
I guess before we get to Ottawa, let's go all the way back to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Tell us about Emily Clark playing hockey as a kid.
geez, my favorite topic. I love being from Saskatoon. Yeah, I grew up with 4 older brothers and an older sister. Just crazy hockey family, going in every direction. I don't know how my parents did it, honestly, but yeah, I feel like any good women's hockey player, you grow up getting beat up by your brothers or getting stuck in net. But yeah, I loved growing up in Saskatoon and being from there, and obviously getting to go back for the rivalry series this year was so special. Probably one of the highlights of my career.
When you're younger growing up, like you got your signature bun now, but like were you Julia was just basically born with luscious locks. Like look at the flow on
Yeah,
the girl.
not
Were
as
you
blessed.
Yeah. Hey, it's just full
I'm actually
thick
flexing
hair.
this morning, guys. I slept on this. Like, I don't have any superpowers other than the flow.
Good
so
hair.
I just got to ride with it.
Mm.
Wow.
You mentioned you had
You
4
guys
brothers.
actually play hockey well, so I think I would have taken that one
Yeah.
instead.
But like were you growing up, like were you a kid in the bun, or did you have like were you a part of the generation where you look back at school pictures and you're like, Mom, good God, like what's with the
Oh
haircut?
God, no. The bun came. Well, I also played boys hockey and was
Mhm.
also the girl that played boys hockey that didn't know hair elastics existed. So
Right.
it was just not quite Julia locks, but flowing down. And honestly, it was more like closer to a mullet than anything. I feel like I had like a bob, like a 50-year-old woman's haircut on like an 8-year-old body for like so long. Like just like bob. But I wanted to be like the boys, so I always had my hair pretty short and wanted just to like flow like them and stuff. So
Did
yeah,
they know
my
you were
sister actually wanted.
did they know you
What's
were a
that?
girl playing with them?
The goal was that they didn't, but I don't think that they always did when I played against them growing up. But I was gonna say my sister. So the order is boy, girl, and then 3 boys, and then me. And my sister wanted another sister so bad that when the third boy in that order was born, she broke the phone when my parents told her because she was like so pissed that she didn't have a sister. And then I came and I was like a boy until I was like 16. Like she has a little sister now, but I don't think she quite knew what she was getting into.
That's awesome. What would be like the unique thing about growing up with 5 siblings? Anything that stands out? I only have one sister, and it was fairly chaotic.
Yeah, I feel like probably just the chaos, but I feel like we just get into like stupid stuff because there's so many of us, and like we didn't have to go out and play with friends that much because we just had like a full lineup at home. So we're always getting into stuff. But I mean, as like a hockey family, for me, it was awesome because we always were playing mini sticks, chell, shooting pucks. So I was never bored growing up. That's for sure.
Chell. Did you ever like were you guys like the type of siblings that were on the same team, or were you like, you caught your brother doing something bad and you're gonna tell on them and they're like, no, 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 and then they drag you into doing it too?
Oh my God. I
Do you know
think
what
I
I'm
know
talking
what you're
about?
talking about. Yeah, well, I just have to preface this with saying sorry to my parents because I don't even think we've ever told them
No
this
way.
story.
Breaking
And
news.
I don't, this is breaking news. And me and my brother Brian didn't even talk about it till like 2 years ago. It was one of those things that happens in childhood that you just never just sweep it under the rug. But yeah, I remember I was like maybe 4 or 5, and I was in the backyard and I came around the corner and my brother Brian, who's 4 or 5 years older than me, he had a cigarette. I was like, I'm telling, because you're the younger sibling, you're gonna
For
tell him
sure.
everything, and he he's so good with his words. He just talked me into trying it with him, and then that way I couldn't tell on him because we were both in the same boat. So I had like a puff of. I mean, I don't fully remember everything, but basically, yeah, I had like a puff, if that's what they call it, a drag of a cigarette, like when I
Yeah.
was like 4, and I remember feeling so terrible, and it's probably good for me, I
Just
never wanted to do it after that again. And I
hacking
talked about,
darts.
yeah, just like 20 years of just silence until one day I'm sitting with him, like, do you remember when we did that? And he was like, yeah.
It was never addressed. That is
No,
so much funnier.
yeah, take it to your grave until you're on the Jocks and Jill's podcast. So sorry, Mom and Dad. They're great,
Tessa,
great parents.
how on earth did you get that story? Like, where did you
I
get it
don't
from?
know. I do a little digging. It's too
That is
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
terrible.
God, catch my breath. And her cough is not because she smokes people. It's because Julia got her sick at the interviews in Kingston.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm being blamed for that. I had no cough going. I was completely healthy in that.
I
But
don't
I
know.
have to tell the people of the podcast that Emily Clark let me try on like her Aura ring when I was there. I was so excited when I saw it. I was like, oh, I kind of want one of those. And then yesterday was my birthday, and I got one for my birthday. I thought that Emily was like in cahoots with my boyfriend for size, because even the size is right. We kind of talked about it. I was like, oh, like I don't know. You were like totally order the sizing kit,
Yeah,
and then it just showed up to me, and it fits. I can't believe it.
just so
Though,
passionate about it. I texted your boyfriend right away.
Yeah, Mr.
it
Leon.
yelled at
Happy
me all
belated
night,
birthday,
though.
also. But
Thank
it
you.
yelled at
It
you?
had like because I had some drinks before I went to bed last night. So it's like your
Mm,
temperature is high, your sleep is like 0% good. I was like, wow, that's
yeah,
a little bit negative.
Yeah.
I
no
had a good
crowns for
time.
you. You can't be wearing it on. That can't be like one of your first stats.
I know, but I
Take it
went to a
off.
Pilates class and I was like, I wanna see what it does.
Fair
The
enough.
Julia just setting the
Anyways.
bar low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good actually, because maybe it'll give me a really good score when I have like a normal day.
Yeah, that won't be
Um,
until you leave Thunder Bay, though.
Yeah, get to Utica. That's gonna be helpful. Maybe we should like talk about Utica since you're at camp right now. Like,
Oh,
how's
yeah.
camp been? You guys be checking
Yeah,
out
that's
or
what I'm doing
Finland
here.
yesterday?
Yeah, we played Finland yesterday, and it was a great game for us. The camp's honestly been so fun. Like, when you get back with this group, it's just a blast because we all are such good friends. But especially this year, now that we've been playing against each other all year, and we played against each other in the past, but the PW obviously is a different beast than anything we've all played in, and super competitive. So it's been fun transitioning from being mad at them, playing against them, to friends again. But yeah, I think you appreciate everyone so much and the environment, and it's just fun being back.
That's
So
awesome.
one of my favorite stories about you. Sorry, Tess, go
Go,
ahead.
Julia.
So one of our favorite stories about you is the letter that you wrote to yourself when you were, how old were you? Like 10 or 12? Pretty young to be
Yeah, a
having
couple
like
years
these
after
big
the cigarette
aspirational
incident.
dreams. Yeah. So you recovered from the cigarette
Ditching the
incident,
partying life.
and then you wrote this letter to yourself. And if I'm not mistaken, you still have it. Can you give full context about it?
Yeah, I left that past life behind me. I mean, we always had hockey on, and I just remember one night, I wish I knew which player it was, but yeah, an NHL player was making his debut, and me and my dad were watching it, and he had wrote like on a piece of paper, one day I'm going to play in the NHL, and he had it on his wall. And yeah, I think I was like 7 or 8 when I made it. There's a photo online of one. I remade it when I was like 12 or 13, because at first I put also Team Canada and Notre Dame Hounds, and then I went to Wilcox, and then I had to remake it because it's like that's not included in the dream anymore. But yeah, I had one day I'm gonna play from Team Canada, and I like signed it and put it above my light switch. So it was like anytime, every day I woke up and went to bed, that was the goal. And I mean, I didn't really understand goal setting when I was like 8, but yeah, that was like a pretty big thing for me to have growing up.
Is it still around?
Yeah, it's in my bedroom at my parents' house.
Still by the light switch?
I don't think it's as prominent as it used to be, but I think it's in a drawer somewhere. But I will keep it forever.
Aw. Tess, you have some wedding shenanigans you want to get into?
I do. There's been a ton of
God.
weddings, great weddings. I heard Renata Fast's wedding was awesome. But I heard no one had a better time at Blair Turnbull's wedding than yours truly. So just talk to us about, first of all, I got a question. Like, what is Cheers to the Governor? What is this?
Yeah, that was new to me before that game as well. But it will get you. I'll tell you that for free. And it's a game where with the people that are playing, you just count to 21, and there's the rule that you always start with is 7 is 14 and 14 is 7. And then when you get to cheers to 21, you say cheers to the Governor, and whoever it landed on, you make up a new rule. And it was me, Pooh, Jill, and Blair's friend Emma. And that's my first wedding I'd been in as a bridesmaid. So we're sitting at the front and playing a little bit of catch up. So we crushed a few rounds of that, and Blair's signature drink was Moscow Mule, which is my favorite drink. So one thing led to another, and yeah, I just really wanted to have a good time for my sister Blair, and I achieved that.
So if there was like an over under on number of drinks spilled post Cheers to the Governor, like let's say if it was 6.5.
Bumped into a lot.
Oh yeah.
Are you a notorious spiller?
I don't know what it is. As soon as I get touched, my hand just goes like this. I could get touched on left shoulder, right shoulder, hand. But yeah, it was slippery dance floor, and that is entirely my fault. I'll own up to that. Good thing the cups were plastic.
My gosh.
I'll just also say that.
Nice.
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you catch the bouquet? Is that what we're hearing?
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
I wasn't even going to be in the mix either. I was actually on my way to get another Moscow Mule, and I was with Blair's husband and his brother. And Ryan was totally like, "Oh, you're not going to get in on that." And the crowd was swarming. I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll go." And I'm in the back, and I'm so competitive. But it comes up, and it was like slow motion, and I soared. I was like Odell Beckham Jr., like one hand. I've been jumping every week all summer. I've never jumped that high in my life. And I drop down and I catch it. And I was like, oh my God. And then Blair comes and grabs me, and then the whole team is picking me up and throwing me up in the air. And one of my prouder moments. Yeah.
That's incredible. Does that happen at every Team Canada wedding? Like an extremely competitive bouquet toss? That seems on brand.
Yeah, that's actually accurate. I feel like I probably would have elbowed someone on the way up maybe, but Aaron actually caught it at Evan Lacasse's, so
no way.
It might be a new thing. Yeah, I don't know if Renata threw it. Can't remember.
Renata? Oh yeah.
And
there was no mention of that. I feel like when we talked about her wedding before either.
Yeah. I'll inquire on that.
I heard it was record vert for you. Like you had never jumped that high in your life.
Absolutely not. I was soaring. I felt like I was in the air for a while. Like I had time to think while I was in the air, like, oh my God, I need to not like break my ankle on the way down.
That is so good.
What other crazy Emily Clark stories do we have? The one about rivalry series.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you got kind of like, was it a false positive at the rivalry series, or was it
No, that was the
COVID
Olympics.
and then, or you got it in the penalty box or something weird? But the cool part about the story is you got a kind of a private flight home.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a silver lining to
Yeah,
everything.
of course.
So
Yeah,
question
well,
though, I got
I
my
was,
question. My question's like,
yeah.
how do you even know? Everyone's like, oh, she got COVID in the penalty box. I'm like, how do you even know that?
Yeah, the answer is that you don't. We
Right.
don't know that. It was COVID and we have nothing but time to make up stories. But, well, the story is, I was the main character of two big COVID stories that year. And at the time that this first one happened, no one had tested positive. It was right before Christmas, and we played in St. Louis and then Minnesota, and it was right before Christmas. So I remember the rules for us was like so strict, like in your hotel room or the rink, basically. And I was roommates with Blair, and we were like so like followed everything we needed to do to the T. Um, and then we traveled to Minnesota. We tested that night. The next morning, I wake up to a text from the team doctor asking if I'm awake, and I'm like, that's not good. And I was the only person in team or staff to test positive. So then it was like a red button, which now it doesn't seem like a big deal, but at the time I was kind of in the thick of it.
Oh yeah.
And it was the first time we were going through that. And it came up, I had two penalties the game before, the day before we tested. And so they think that was my longest exposure to whatever, someone that maybe had it. And we were in St. Louis, and I don't think that COVID protocol was all that tight when we were there. But yeah, it ended up being this huge deal, and the game in Minnesota got canceled, and all the U.S. girls were so mad at me. My fault. But like,
Were they
anyways,
really? Like actually directly mad at you?
yeah. Well, I remember there was like, and me and Abby have talked about this, so I feel like she'll be fine with me sharing. But she had like put on her story like something like, "Sorry, to the fans, the game got canceled. No one on our team tested positive." It was something very like,
That's
Abby.
such a shot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Abby, I'm just trying to get home for Christmas. Like,
Seriously,
anyways,
like you're trying to get COVID in the penalty box.
it was fine. We had to, she apologized, and it wasn't like that serious or that deep. But yeah, I mean, I did feel bad. I wanted to play the game, and it was in Minnesota, and it was like sold out. Like, it would have been so sweet, but the game ended up getting canceled, and I was patient zero, so I just felt so terrible, and everyone got home, but I'm still positive in Minnesota for like days until they can figure out a way to get me home. And to my luck, it ended up being a private ambulance jet. So I just walked right up, and it's just me and the two pilots, and that was kind of fun, honestly, in
That's so
hindsight.
up. Did they have, wait, was it a helicopter or a plane?
It was a little plane, like a little six-seater. A helicopter. It was going to be a
Ooh.
helicopter at one point, which I was also like, sweet, like that sounds
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, it was a big deal. And then I got a false positive at the Olympics is the other story. So I was like very done with COVID by the time we got out of that year.
The one, like you just don't want to be the main character in that respect, and you had to star in that show twice.
Twice, yeah.
You got
Yeah.
yanked off in warm-ups, right?
Yeah, that whole day was so dramatic too, because it was like we were playing Russia and they had false positives. So the game was delayed because we were like, we're not playing until that's sorted out. I don't know if you guys remember, the game was
Yep.
delayed by like
Yeah.
half hour to begin with. And then we're finally warming up, and that was the game that we all had like the N95s on. And I'm like in the three lines, like mid taking a shot, and I think it was Ambrose was like screaming my name, and I'm like, can you wait like 2 seconds? Like, I'm like about to shoot. So I like flick the puck on net, and I'm like, what? And then she points to the bench, and Gina's there, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I get yanked off, but I had a false positive too. But it's showing up as a positive, and since we made this big ordeal of their case, I couldn't, like, I technically could have played, but it wouldn't have been like a very good look for us because we just asked for a delay for the exact
Yeah.
same thing. So yeah, then I get yanked off, and then people in hazmat suits are like taking me to my room, and they came back to test me, and I had to stay in my room until that was all cleared up. But it's okay. We played the U.S. the next day. I just got an extra day off. It turned out fine. We won. Good story.
Now you got it.
It's fine. Yeah.
You mentioned playing Chell before. I know that Ratty is another gamer on the team. Any other like undercover sneaky gamers on Team Canada or PWHL Ottawa that maybe we wouldn't expect? Like, who's the gamer girl squad?
Sneaky game. Yeah, the gamer girls. Definitely Ratty and Ambrose, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I think she's a child girl and maybe a Call of Duty girl.
Well, I'm pretty sure
This is
Ratty is a part of a group called the Quad Squad. Don't they like
it.
go on and like it's her, Holly, Carrie Madamo, Lexi Hoffmeyer, and Billy Bridges actually, and they just go on and let's like wreak havoc. Like, are you? I heard you were a gamer, like secretly. Are we outing you right now on your gaming ship?
No, it's okay. No, I'm not. I don't want to front too much because I do love to play video games, and that is definitely, for older brothers. Like we had all the gaming systems growing up. I don't play as much anymore. Actually, what I did enjoy playing a lot during COVID with Emirates and Lacasse, we were like a three-person unit all COVID in Montreal, was Grand Theft Auto. Like we would crush Grand Theft Auto. And this is the thick of COVID. Like haven't been to anywhere that's not each other's apartments in the rink. And there's like a part of the game that you can like go to the bar and like a strip club, and it's terrible. But we would like
Hang out
order
at the rivers.
sushi, and it would be a Friday night, and we would do like tasks on Grand Theft Auto and like always stop there, and it was weird times. So we haven't done that in a while, but
it's so weird to reflect on the things that we did during COVID. Like
yeah,
sometimes I just sit and think, why was I tie dyeing? It was 2020. The year. Why was I doing that in my backyard?
It's so true. It was in the thick of things, and I haven't said that out loud in a while, so now I feel like it sounds way worse. But if you guys all remember, like fall of 2020, that was a normal thing to do.
For sure.
Hilarious. I did not game. I was pregnant, and actually no, Thea would have been born. I was raising my son in the thick of COVID, so there was no gaming, unfortunately for me.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about like I love. We give Ottawa props and their fan base props all of the time because your home games are they're wild. Hey, they're so much fun, and I feel like it's hard not to love to play for that team. Like when Lexi and Gia got traded, you could tell she was kind of like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss it here," kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so I feel like all the players just spew nothing but massive love for Ottawa. And you actually had a chance at the All-Star game to kind of wear your Ottawa pride when you were there. And did you design that jacket, or did you you had a stylist that helped you, right? Yeah, Kesha McLeod, is that her name? She's like Serena Williams stylist. Is that true? How the heck?
Yeah, no, she is so cool, and like I know to be like in the room of someone that's like her and that knows Serena Williams. Actually, so she's the fashion director for Sherwood. That's how all that went down and got connected. And yeah, she worked with me last All-Star and this All-Star, and kind of how like just asked if I had any ideas, and I said a varsity jacket and something. I play for Ottawa now, and I'm there representing Ottawa, so I wanted something to tie that together. So yeah, she came up with the jacket and designed it. But when I first worked with her was when I was at All-Star in Florida, and she commented on my legs, and I was like, "You've seen Serena Williams' legs, and you said I have nice legs." Like, oh my God. But yeah, she's a really big deal in the fashion and stylist industry. So very cool that Sherwood sets us up to work with her for sure.
That's sick. So the bun is a signature look. You always have good walk-in outfits. You're a big sneakerhead though too. Like my barometer for having cool shoes is when I do a game and you're like, "Oh, cool sneakers." I'm like, "Okay, yes, win today." Do you have a couple favorite pairs? Like, how did the love affair with sneakers begin?
Yeah, so you do have great shoe game, Julia. So I'll make sure to keep giving you your roses when I see it. Yeah, I mean, I've always loved shoes, like anyone loves shoes, but was it like the summer after the Olympics? I got these like I don't know why I was so fixated on these like they're Jordan 1 Hyper Royals they're called. And I
Yeah.
kept seeing them, like I saw them on like someone's Instagram and then I saw them somewhere else and I had it screenshotted for like months and I was like I don't have any high tops, but for whatever reason I just was obsessed with getting these shoes. And then I got them and it's like almost like when you get a tattoo and people say like once you get one like you're not going to want to stop. I feel like the hunt for like a shoe that you really wanted and it's hard to get definitely sparked an expensive habit but or hobby I guess, but I love it. There's a clothing store from home that's a sneaker boutique that I get a lot of shoes from, but yeah, probably that first pair and then I have a pair of Travis Scotts that I got from Momentum Clothing, it's called, in Saskatoon, and they're like impossible to get at retail, and I won a draw to get them. And the resale on them is crazy, but I just love them, so I kept them. But yeah, I really definitely love my sneakers.
Nice. Who is there anybody else on Team Canada that like rivals your love for sneakers?
Oh yeah, I think there's a few. I mean, I'm in my room right now with Pooh. I feel like Pooh has she's got a great
She's
closet.
got sneaky like style game actually. Her hat collection pretty sick.
Oh my God, I'm like peeking in right now. I mean, like, you know, this is classic Pooh too. I haven't been on her side of the room yet, but she's got, you know, she always like has her like fancy
Are
glasses.
they real? Expose her right now. Are they blue lights or do they have a prescription in them?
I can't be doing that to her. You looked a little blurry when I had them on.
Yeah.
Something.
It's because of the finger marks all on the lenses.
Yeah, maybe.
So what's your favorite sneaker? What's your go-to? What's your number one? And are they packed?
I think, yeah, my favorite ones I think are my Travis Scott
Ooh.
Jordan Lows. And then yeah, definitely like that first pair of Hyper Royals that I got. They don't get busted out often because they're like white and light baby blue. So I'm very
those are
particular with
dangerous.
them. But yeah, I brought the Travis Scotts to spice up a couple outfits, be comfy, and
Ooh.
have a little bit of swag, hopefully walking in.
I like.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean,
what else do we want to learn about
I have
Emily
kids
Clark?
that step all over. I don't know what it is with kids, but they love stepping on shoes and feet, and it's like, stop with it. Anyways, so that's why I don't have nice
I
sneakers.
actually like another thing about me is I'm obsessed with my nephew.
Yeah, I know. I
Nice.
was going to ask you about.
But
Go on.
oh, he's the best
Proud
thing that's
auntie.
ever
Go
happened.
ahead.
But very proud auntie, and I didn't used to get that until I had him. Like when people were like obsessed with their niece
Until
and
I
nephews.
had him.
Had him in my life. I often
hilarious.
thank my sister. I feel like my sister brought him into the world for me. But I had like one of my nicer pairs of shoes on once, and went over to hang out with him. And it had rained the day before, and we were out for a walk, and he like stomped on a puddle right in front of me, all over my shoes, just like wet dirt. And it was like, that was the moment I was like, you're the most important thing in the world, because I'm not even fazed by this. And if anyone else did that, I would want to kill them.
That's so cute.
I love that.
On the topic of Ottawa, we touched on the fans a bit, but the team itself, you guys kind of have does your line have a weird thing going on where you speak to one another in an accent?
I did hear this.
Jeez. No, not my line. That's the full Ottawa thing. Well, first, I don't know how we didn't get to. I didn't answer the first part about playing in Ottawa and Ottawa yet. Like the fans and home games are incredible. It's like so fun to play for a city again. The only other time I had something like that was at Wisconsin, like when we had like sellout crowds all the time, and it's just so fun to play for them. And yeah, I feel like we have such a good group, a good culture, and just like really fun people that I like to think that we're easy to cheer for with how we play on the ice and how we keep things off the ice. But yeah, we had about a 2-week stretch where everyone talked in Southern accents. Like,
Oh,
you couldn't stop it. It was crazy.
Like Texas?
Yeah. Well, we ended up, everyone had like an alter ego story. So there was some Alabama, some Kentucky, some Texas.
And were you
What was
guys
yours?
like
Give us a
telling
little
these stories at the
taste.
bar, or was it just amid you guys?
No, just road trips to Montreal. I I was constant
Constant?
at Constance. I didn't have as much of a background as some girls, but we have Emma Buckles from Kentucky. Um, Ashton was Jolene. Like it was insane. But yeah, it was like we had like some new players come from Boston. So we had Sammy Davis and Sam Isbell in the same week join our team right in the thick of this. And you could tell
Oh
that they're
no.
like, where
What's going on here?
where have I just come to? And like, is this a thing? And then it got to the point where like you'd be in video sessions and people are like asking questions and it's coming out and we're like, okay, we gotta take a break. It's like that
Who had the
Elvis actor
most?
that can't stop talking like Elvis. Like I
Yeah.
get it now.
Who had the most elaborate backstory?
Oh geez. I think Gabby Hughes.
Really?
Of course.
Gabby Hughes and Amanda Boulier, they had the best accents and backstories for sure.
So has anybody ever
great.
done like a post-game press conference in said voice or no?
I think that's gotta happen next. A lot of
That's the
pregame
next step.
hype. I think it was actually the moment that it was like, wow, this is really a thing is when Brianne Jenner started talking in it. Because like
I need
she
to
was
hear that.
she was just Janae, like it wasn't too much of a alter ego, but yeah, it was like, I mean, you guys know Jenner is hilarious, but you could tell she was fighting. She was fighting it to not want to join in, and then it was like once we got her to do it, it was like, okay, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's so good.
we haven't touched on Wisconsin yet. I feel like we should before we let you go. Like it wouldn't be a
Definitely.
complete Emily Clark story unless we told some Wisco stories. I mentioned it off the top, but you went to the Frozen Four all 4 years. You managed to break through in your final year and win that title with them. I don't know what stands out in your memory when you think about that senior year when you guys broke through and you won.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better way to finish my
It's
time
like a
there.
fairy tale.
Yeah, fairy tale, revenge tour, whatever you want to call it. No, it was like the best possible way I could have ended my time there. Obviously, we had a lot of success on the ice, but like college hockey, there's nothing like it. And similar to how I imagine Tess feels about Ohio State, like I'm not as good of an alum. I don't have my swag on, but yeah, like on the hockey front, like going to the Frozen Four all 4 years, it's just so heartbreaking when you want that so bad and you come just short. So I lost in the semis my freshman and sophomore year. My junior year, we finally get to the final, and we had like an unbelievable team that year. That was like broke every record, and Renee had that like insane 10-game shutout streak. Like
Yeah.
we thought we had it, and we just kind of fell apart in the final. It was so sad. So to come like that close and not have it happen, and then to finally in my senior year beat the two teams that I lost to the previous 3 years, it just was like couldn't have wrote out better.
There's a crazy
guys hear
Easter
my
hunt
kids?
going on at Tessa's right now. Yeah. That's so funny.
Andy's had enough.
They miss you, Tessa. The celebration after that championship, like, can you just like give us a little peek as to what that was like when your team won that year?
Yeah, I mean, I had to do a little bit quality over quantity on this celebration because I left for the World Championship, I think like 36 or less than 48 hours later.
Crazy.
So, definitely made the most of that time. And it's just so fun. I mean, you're just with your team doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And, you get like the police and the fire truck guide you into town. And then everyone is just like celebrating you. And, you're going to the bars and everyone is buying you drinks and different things. And different stuff like getting to throw, like we threw an opening pitch That's actually a pretty embarrassing story.
Sick.
That
Oh yeah,
um,
you threw it.
I shouldn't have brought that up. Yeah, me and Sophia Shaver threw opening pitch at a Brewers game,
Like you both had
and
to go at
Oh,
the same time, or one after the other?
yeah, they're same time, and then
same
two
timesies.
people catching it, and then
Okay.
yeah, I feel like when you have that many people looking at you, sometimes you just forget how to do anything, and I bombed the pitch like it's so far above the guy. He couldn't even catch it, and it like hit like someone in the back, and it was pretty embarrassing. But
Is there
You were
video?
just
getting
trying to
to
make sure
do
it got
that
to
was
home
cool.
plate. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
How many-
I didn't want to do like when people don't make it.
Yes.
Yeah, I really dug in, and
So it's
it was bad. It was so bad.
How many
just
chirps were
hucks
there
the
after
ball
that?
like she's in the outfield, just lets her rip.
Yeah, it literally was like I could have backed up about 100 feet. Um, yeah, no, I didn't let that down for a while after that.
Okay.
I
Well,
gotta
I
find
feel
that
like
video.
yeah, I know. We're gonna have to go look that up. And honestly, Emily, you are the best. We've squeezed like 100 hilarious stories out of you this Easter morning. So I
Yeah,
hear
thank
Tessa's
you.
kids protesting. So we'll let you
Yeah,
go now. Hopefully, Hockey
wrap
Canada
it up.
has a good Easter egg hunt for you guys, and good luck next couple weeks at Worlds.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. All right, it is our Send It segment on the Jocks and Jills podcast. You guys send us your questions, your comments, your concerns, whatever you want to talk to us about, honestly. jocksandjills@gmail.com is our email. We'll drop that email in our description of the YouTube video. You can DM us on Instagram as well, or on Twitter, or on TikTok, wherever you find us. Tessa, I have to tell you something funny before we start. I was just reaching into the pocket of this jacket that I pulled off the garage wall, and I was like,
Yeah.
what is in here? It's BBs, I think.
Oh, stop it! A BB gun?
It's not
Little cap gun?
safe. Yeah. It's not safe, Dad. My dad got in
Northern
so much
Ontario.
trouble one time at the yeah. Anyways, so let's see what you guys have to say. Hopefully better things that I have going on this morning. So we have a couple questions. One from Gloria Ambrowiak and one from Kathy Hurst. Both of them are just kind of wondering about, and lots of PWHL fans are wondering, heck, players are wondering, everybody's kind of wondering in this first year as the PWHL gets its feet underneath it and everything nailed down about
Mhm.
clarification when it comes to body contact. Like the questions are, I would love some clarification about what kind of hits are dangerous. My understanding is open ice hits are dangerous. Checking along the boards is allowed. So just want the Tessa Bonham take on what flies and what don't.
From my understanding, and I know there's a lot of confusion. And listen, this is a learning league. This is the first year, so everybody's kind of learning. So I don't think I know I've given the refs heck a little bit sometimes, but like we're
It's
all
hockey,
just
guys.
working through
Part of the
this.
game
So
is giving the refs heck.
basically, a hit needs to be made to separate a player from the puck. It can't just be like plowing someone over. Albeit those are highlight reel hits that we, double click and tap and whatever like online. But it's got to be a play on the puck. It has to be a true hockey play to separate a player from the puck or to challenge a player for the puck. So it's at the ref's discretion, obviously. The hits from behind, like with Abby Rock getting, tossed in that one game, I think consistently through any hockey league, the NHL too, I don't think they have a true handle. Like I feel like no matter what, it's always a gray area because sometimes I'm like, that player put themselves in a bad spot. They saw the hit coming and turned. There's all these, and the game's fast and whatever, and you just don't hit someone when they're there. It's like, yes, I get it, but there's always so many factors, and I don't like how we always put things in slow motion because it's so easy to nitpick.
Totally agree.
Hate that. Watch it full. Even these reviews that they're asking for on offside or whatever.
People want hockey to be black and white, and it's just not a black and white game. Like there's a lot of gray in the game.
Exactly. 3 looks at it full speed. Can't make a call. Call on the ice stance. That's it. And none of this slowing it down. Let me go frame by frame. Stop it. It's a fast game.
The worst is like take a screenshot of the hit, and it's like, how is that representative of anything? Of course, like there's momentum. Their feet are going to be a little bit off the. Anyways,
yeah.
I completely agree.
But yes,
so
hit needs to be made.
We feel
to
you guys.
Yeah, hit needs to be made to separate the player from the puck, or a play on the puck. Done.
Yeah. Done. And I'm sure that we'll get lots more questions about this, and we're going to have lots more questions about this. But like we said, it's not a black and white game. There's a lot of gray involved, and I don't think that any hockey fans or organization is ever going to sit down and be like, these are the rules, and we all agree upon them, and nobody's ever going to agree on the call for every hit. So
Totes.
it's tough, but the league's getting there. Since it's a holiday, we have one more, and this one is kind of fun. So we'll end it on this, Tess.
Okay.
All the jokes about Abby Rock's wedding list. Is she getting married? Is she single? Or is this something she has been working on for years? So this originated from a bar down video that Reagan Subban produced when the PWHL had their first camp.
This is great.
Is that also in Utica? And she was asking them to go through notes on their phone, like read me your last phone note in your phone.
Notes.
And I don't know about you, but you've got some hilarious notes in your. I feel like everyone, like, you go through your notes. I'm like, what was I thinking when I wrote this? Like, no idea. But also a grocery list, but also like some sad thought that I had and a fun quote that I saw and an inspirational one. And Abby Rock's notes, never completed.
No.
Abby Rock's was her wedding guest list. And I can understand why you think that Abby Rock might be married or getting married, but Abby Rock is single. So
is she single? I don't know. I don't know for sure if she's single, but I do know that she's not getting married.
I don't know either.
Nor is she engaged.
Okay. Sorry, that's what I mean.
We'll have to check her Facebook status. Do people still do that?
No, geez.
Is that a thing?
I don't think.
No?
I don't think so. Are you married on Facebook to your actual husband?
Yeah, I don't know.
You literally don't even know.
I don't know. Well, let's go update.
I don't know.
I'm just going to open up my profile, everyone.
Okay, Tessa's going to get herself married while we figure out, that's nice for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you too. So
Thank
sweet together. No, and we're honestly, the reason we talk about this so much is we're trying really hard to get on the list, and the reason we like pump it up so much is we want to be on it. So Abby Rock's wedding list is like a lot of good lore in women's hockey.
Yeah, and it's not like we just want to go. Like, we're not going to be like those creepy, weird people that go to a wedding just to want to go to a wedding just to be there. Like, I feel like we would be very good wedding contributors.
I love
just to go to someone famous's wedding. That's not us. I feel like we would be very good contributors to the wedding.
I want to have my elbows up in the bouquet toss because I feel like my level of competitive doesn't match with the average.
No way, man. Not after hearing what Emily Clark had to say about that. No chance. I'm not taking an elbow to the face. My playing days are over. I am done. I will be at the bar holding it up.
And you're married on Facebook, so you don't even need to catch it.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I'm not allowed to be in the mix. Right. Liam got you a ring. It's just an Aura one.
Oh my God. Okay, it's so
Liam got
funny,
me a ring. I'm like, what? An Aura ring. I was like,
oh yeah. Because we had just talked about how I wanted it. But I have to tell you that, like, he was like, what's your ring size a few weeks ago? And I was like, dude, like, let's take her down. But I wanted this, so that's good. Just take her down a notch with the ring. But he needed to know, so it's good. It all makes more sense now.
And now he knows.
And now he knows. Now he knows. Tessa, this was a fun episode. Thank you for pausing your Easter egg hunt. I think I have to go wrestle my sister over a candy apple now. So thank you to our sponsors, Nobis, CCM. We love you guys.
Do you think I paused? My egg hunt had happened at like 7 a.m. Dude, you were still sleeping. I was up already.
I was just falling asleep.
And eating chocolate.
Yeah. But in the time that we had between the Emily interview, we interviewed Emily a few minutes ago, and then we recorded this part. My family did like a fast Easter egg hunt, and I think I hear my sister fighting with my boyfriend about a candy apple versus caramel apple. So I got to go break it up because I think she's gonna hit him. Thank you guys for listening. We love you. Have a happy, safe holiday. We'll enjoy the World Championship. We'll talk to you next week. We're gonna have some fun interviews coming from there. Appreciate you guys following along. Appreciate our sponsors, CCM, Nobis. We love you guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Like, follow, and subscribe.